I call to order the November 8th, 2021 meeting of the Marquette City Commission. If you'd please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. So this is a rare occurrence for me. Under the process laid out in the city charter, just as a bit of background and the commission's rules of procedure, this first meeting in November is the body's organizational meeting. So as the clerk of the commission, I open the meeting and conduct a bit of housekeeping. And then once offices are appointed for the coming year, I kind of slide off into the background again for 23 meetings. So we're going to open with just a roll call of the commission following last Tuesday's election. Commissioner Bonzal. Here. Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Hanley.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Mayer.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
And Commissioner Stonehouse.
Here.
And so to begin with, I'm going to conduct the oaths of office for Commissioners Hill and Commissioner Smith, who were both reelected to 3-year terms in Tuesday's election. Ms. Hill, if you can join me at the lectern, I'll administer your oath, and then following that, I'll get you, Ms. Smith. I'll even give you a cheat sheet, too. So you just want to raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Jen Hill,
I, Jen Hill,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Marquette City Commission
of the office of the Marquette City Commission
of the City of Marquette
of the City of Marquette
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. So if you want to sign one of these, sign both of them, and then you can keep one. And then thank you. Commissioner Smith, you've seen how it's done now. I, Jenna Smith,
I, Jenna Smith,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Marquette City Commission
of the office of the Marquette City Commission
of the City of Marquette
of the City of Marquette
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ma'am, we're working. Okay, and so the next process is conducting the elections of mayor and mayor pro tem for 2021-22. You should all have these little mini ballots out in front of you. I've been told this is orange-ish, not color benefited. Says mayor on it, so if everybody can check the candidate of your choice for mayor and also put your name on the back of each ballot, I will come around and collect them. And then we will, Chief of Police and I will review the votes. And with a unanimous vote, Jenna Smith has been elected mayor for the coming year. You can feel my power sapping away. Mayor Smith, you just did it, so you know what to do, but if you want to join me at the lectern, I will administer your oath. Repeat after me. I, Jenna Smith,
I, Jenna Smith,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Mayor of the City of Marquette
of the office of Mayor of the City of Marquette
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Yeah, I am. This is my exercise for the day, so I just want to sit down. Okay, so then we're going to do the exact same thing, but with the blue sheets in front of you. Election for Mayor Pro Tem, and I will wander around with this basket again. And with 4 votes, Commissioner Mayer has been elected Mayor Pro Tem for the coming year. So, if you just want to repeat after me. I, Cody Mayer,
I, Cody Mayer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and the Charter of the City of Marquette,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Marquette
of the office of Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Marquette
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right, and I think the last thing I'm going to attempt to do here, if I can keep my brain in order, is a new roll call of the commission. From the top, Commissioner Bonzal,
Here.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Hanley,
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Stonehouse,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mayor,
Here.
and Mayor Smith.
Here.
And with that, I turn the meeting over.
Thank you, City Clerk. All right, Commissioners, we will have some time for probably some remarks and congratulations at the end of the meeting and Commissioner comments, but we will roll through the agenda and we will get to that shortly here. First up, we have our approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion on the agenda? Commissioner Stonehouse.
Your Honor, I motion to approve the agenda as written.
And do we have a second?
I'll second the out.
Okay, and any discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 7-0. I have one announcement for this meeting. Hold on, I brought a prop. It is leaf pickup week. It's the last week. Here's a map. Get your leaves out. You've got until Friday unless you were in a certain part of Marquette and it was today. So, anyway, just a little reminder. It's a day behind, so you still have time. So I just wanted to make sure residents know, soon the snow is gonna fly and it'll be a lot harder to get the leaves out of your yards. All right, so that brings us to public comment tonight. I know we've got some folks who are ready and willing to give some comments. We're glad to have you here. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes per person. Please clearly state your name and physical address when making comments.
Thank you.
Name and physical address, please.
My name is Dave Hendrickson. I live at 1710 Gray here in Marquette. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations, by the way, and the rest of the commission for allowing me to speak. You know, first of all, I want to tell you it's not a complaint. And I've been in business long enough and management long enough to know that if somebody does something right for you, acknowledge them. More than 99% of the time, employees are confronted with what you did wrong. And at this point in time, I'd like to go out on the limb and say these people I'd like to thank. First of all, I should mention what the situation was. I noticed what I considered a real traffic hazard. It was at the corner of McClelland and Center. It was a very wicked corner if anyone has ever driven through there. That's one thing. But the kicker was my wife came to me one day and said, you know, we almost got run over in that particular intersection. Driver wasn't, obeying the speed limit, which is 35 in there, by the way, as you may all well know. The problem was as you turned to your left, as you're heading back to Wright Street, there was no line of sight as far as you could go. You had to pull out, way out. And then, of course, the cars, and because of the curve, the cars were coming extremely fast. You had to react yourself as a driver, and let alone, at that time, it was my wife, my daughter, and my 3 grandchildren, and Winnie, the dog. So they mentioned that, and I started thinking, well, gee, let me go and take a look. So I started to snoop around. I first started with Melissa, Department Works, and then I got a hold of Scott Convenzi, and I explained the situation to him. It got a little more involved because the Eagle had to be involved because, of all things, there was this DNR easement, or what we used to call a DNR easement, and that was over it. So after much discussion, and I touched base with Eagle, long story, they went ahead and did it. It did an outstanding job. It's completely safe now. One of the other concerns they had was the sign that it was too close to the intersection. And but I talked to Captain Lorela, and we both agreed. We looked at it together, and it's really, really a great intersection, and it's much safer now. So I just want to appreciate all those people again, Scott, Mr. Captain Lorela, and I think the laborist is Dan. Is it Dan Carlson? The arborist. That as well. That's all I have to say. Again, just one more time, it's an attaboy for them, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And just a note that our chance to respond to public comment is at the end of the meeting and commissioner comments. But anyone else wishing to speak, 3 minutes, name and physical address, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Smith, Mayor Pro Tem Mayor, I almost said Hill, Mayor, and city staff. Thank you for having me. I live at 810 West Magnetic, and I'm here on behalf of
I'm
voters
sorry,
not...
name for the record, please. I mean, I know.
Oh,
but-
Robert Anderson. Okay. And I'm here on behalf of Voters Not Politicians, which is a citizens group, nonpartisan. And could our supporters for voting rights please stand up? Thank you. We also lost 5 people to COVID shyness tonight as well. You know, what we really want, and this is our major concern, is to ask the commission to speak out in favor of something as American as apple pie and baseball, and that is to maintain the easy access to voting that we in the city enjoy, and a majority of us voted for in the 2018 Constitutional Amendment Proposal 3, which overwhelmingly passed here in the city. You know, we are asking you simply to follow the will of the people, to support their preference in voting absentee. In 2020, more than 65% of our city residents voted absentee. And just a week ago, more than 75% voted absentee. And thanks to the excellent work of City Clerk Kyle Whitney and his staff, there were no problems. Double signature matching works well, Kyle. So let's not try to fix something that isn't broke, as Chalk Lake Township Clerk Max Engel recently said in a Mining Journal article. But unfortunately, there are those, mostly from downstate, trying to make it harder for us in Marquette to vote. I know some of you are hesitant to speak out, but this should not be divisive, because the right to vote is foundational to our democracy. This should not be a partisan issue, because those Republican voters and Democratic voters in our city enjoy the easy access to absentee voting in our community. So what about past practice? Former commissioners Robert Kulishek here tonight, Stu Bradley and Robert Nemi all report that it is appropriate for this commission in certain cases to take public positions on issues that directly impact the city and the voters and residents in the city. The petition that we're talking about would restrict the voting rights of every citizen in the city of Marquette, starting from age 18. That is a major impact.
Mr. Anderson, that's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll hear from some other people.
And there is another chance to speak for 3 minutes at the end of the meeting. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening, and congratulations to the new commissioners and re-elected commissioners, the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem. I always welcome a chance to come down and talk to City Commission. It brings back fond memories of when I was on the commission many, many years ago. And I like to see the young people who were in my classes who are now on the City Commission, like Fred Stonehouse.
I'll get
He
you
was
for that,
in my
Bob. I don't know
first
how, but I'll
class
get
at
you.
Northern. Yeah, okay, but let me get to what I'm here to talk about.
And
I would
excuse
echo.
me, sir, name and physical address, please. I
excuse
think
me.
we all know, but.
My name is Robert Kulishek, 617 Hampton,
Thank you.
Marquette. And I'm here to speak once again in favor of the retaining access to voting in the city of Marquette. I would echo what Bob Anderson has just said. I think he made the points that need to be made, and I would like to focus in on one thing, and that's the nonpartisan aspect of this. I think there's been some concern that this is a partisan issue and the commission should possibly not take a position on it. I would argue that the nonpartisan nature of the Marquette City Commission is exactly the reason why you should take a position on this. I really am in favor of the nonpartisan city commission. I think that you are able to do things here without engaging in the rancor of partisanship that's oftentimes seen at the state and the national level. We do all have our partisan preferences, but somehow in the city, we can put that to the side and deal with the issues. Now, why do I think nonpartisanship is important as a reason for you to take a position on this? My wife has been involved in the League of Women Voters for years. It is a nonpartisan organization. I'm a proud member, though not very active in the League of Women Voters, and I would point out that they too are in favor of maintaining maximum access to the vote. I think you, as a nonpartisan commission, are in a unique position to say there isn't a problem in Marquette. The elections have worked very well, and to indicate through referendum, a petition that's being circulated now, that somehow we need to restrict the voting opportunities for people by making it more difficult for absentee voting especially, I think is unfortunate. So if you're concerned about nonpartisanship, I would actually turn that around and say that's a good reason for you to take a position on this. And with that, I'll leave it to others to address other issues. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else for public comment?
Andrew Dalian, 503 Craig. I just want to congratulate the newly elected. I want to congratulate the leadership. And I want to suggest that going forward, we put some focus on maybe some intergenerational housing that addresses the housing issues within our community so that people can afford housing here. I've talked to older members of the community and they seem to endorse this idea. I've spoke to some younger members and they're not aware of it. So I think that's an opportunity for the commission to educate and to advance, especially in light of the funds that are being put forward by the federal government for local municipalities that has just passed over the weekend. I also would like to commend Commissioner Bonsall, Commissioner Hanley, Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Smith, and City Manager, as well as, City Attorney, for being masked as I am. I'm a teacher, and I mask in respect to my students. I mask in respect to their families, and I would hope that everyone in this chamber would mask because you're concerned about each other's health. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nina Vanden and I live at 3032 Island Beach Road. So good to see everybody. Thank you for all you're doing for the city. It's nice to be back and seeing everybody in person. I'm just here to kind of give an example of what I see working at Jacob Betty, where I work. I would venture to guess that not many of our members have a driver's license. So it may restrict some of our veterans at Jacob Betty. The petition that's going around that we're discussing here tonight, that would make it harder to vote. So right now, you know, as it stands, I believe you have to have a voter ID card. This would make it so that you have to have a valid driver's license, which many of my members may not have. I know none of them drive, and I've never actually looked at all their driver's license, but it's likely that a lot of them then would have to take an extra step to get an ID of some sort for them to vote if this petition were to go through, and that may make it so they decide not to vote. So that's where I see a concern.
Anyone else for public comment?
Madam Mayor, members of the City Commission, my name is Joe Sabol, S-A-B-O-L. I have property at 316 Harrison Street. A few weeks ago, I was here with about a dozen other people encouraging you to pass a climate resolution for the city of Marquette, and that's great. Now it's time for action, to not just have words, but to actually put something in place. I'm sure that you've been watching the news the last week about the Committee of Parties in Glasgow, COP number 26, seems to be in a state of disarray. The poor countries are going to bear the brunt of climate change. They are bearing the brunt of climate change. The rich countries don't want to pay for it. So we have a problem. As far as what we can do about this, one of the first things that is necessary is to come up with an inventory. How much energy does the city of Marquette use? There was a Johnson Controls study a couple of years ago about that. What's the status of that? Is Marquette, is it reducing its overall energy use? Is it reducing the overall per capita energy use? Both of those are going to have to go down in the near term, just level off, but they're going to have to go down. How can you affect some changes in the city of Marquette? One way to do that is with the pocketbook. Could I get a reduced or credit on my taxes, my property taxes, if I have solar power on my roof? Can I get a credit on my property tax if I have an on-demand water heater or some high-efficiency appliance, or if my energy use is going down as a function of time, if I'm able to conserve energy? How's about if somebody wants to install a new gas meter, you apply a surtax to that? Because a gas meter, if it's not installed, it can't leak. But one of the biggest problems we have, and probably the easiest to control, is methane emissions. And we're going to have to decouple from methane quickly. We're not going to disconnect gas meters, but every new gas meter just means more demand for methane natural gas. And that is going to be the real problem. That's the thing that we can really control. The carbon dioxide is just going to spread everywhere, but methane is a much more potent greenhouse gas, and you're going to have to attack that. Finally, don't be dissuaded by water vapor as a greenhouse gas and so forth. Of course it is. But as the temperature of the atmosphere rises, there's more water vapor in the atmosphere. That's just basic atmospheric physics. And so there's more water in the atmosphere, there's going to be more rain, and it's going to be heavier rain, and it's not going to be uniform. So here, I'm here to encourage you to do something, to have an inventory of energy use in the city of Marquette, total and per capita, and to provide some incentives, both positive and negative, to internalize the cost that we have of this climate change. Taxes on certain appliances and so forth. If everybody had an electric car in Marquette, the charging could be an issue. So you have to work with the Board of Light and Power on that too. Thank you very much.
Anyone else for public comment?
My name is Karen Schmidt. My husband and I own a duplex on 226 West Hewitt. I want to thank the commission for their pledge to address climate change through a city resolution and climate action plan. At the last meeting I attended, one or more of the commissioners mentioned we have a Marquette County plan that addresses climate issues, and I think they were referring to this guidebook, which is called the Marquette Area Climate and Health Adaptation Guidebook. From my understanding, this is a countywide adaptation plan, and the recommendations are not binding. A Marquette City Climate Action Plan would specifically measure greenhouse gas emissions and set annual reduction goals. It would establish consequences for failure to meet the goals. The goals could be integrated with workforce development, affordable housing, utility bills, and building codes. In the air quality section of this guidebook, there are several recommendations that could be incorporated into a city action plan. Energy efficiency is mentioned several times. It also recommends the city of Marquette develop a community-driven energy master plan. Another recommendation is that local governments work with utilities to understand future energy needs and plan for meeting those needs with distributed renewable resources. Cities can have a lot of influence in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Petoskey's planning to have 100% renewable electric utility by 2035. Traverse City's electric utility is on track to be 40% renewable by 2025 and plans to be 100% by 2040. According to the group Rewiring America, in 2024 will be the turning point in the U.S. when most households will actually find it cheaper to power their homes with clean electrical energy rather than using conventional fossil fuels. Now is the time to plan for this future. There are many local citizen groups along with Northern Michigan University that are ready to help the city do this planning and engage the community. People just need to know that there are local solutions, and I'm sure the public will be glad to participate. Thank you again for your commitment.
Anyone else for public comment? Going once, going twice. Public comment is now closed. All right, commissioners, we have a couple of items, just our consent agenda and our meeting schedule. Up first, we have the consent agenda. Do we have a motion on consent? Commissioner Davis?
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
And do we have a second? Commissioner Bonzel?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion, commissioners? All in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have item number 2 under new business, approve the 2022 City Commission meeting schedule. We have received a copy of the proposed meeting schedule, I believe, in our email. If anyone needs to take a peek at that before we vote, we certainly could do that. Do we have a motion on the proposed meeting schedule? Commissioner Stonehouse?
Motion to accept the meeting schedule as written, Your Honor.
And do we have a second? Pro Tem Mayor?
I second that motion, Your Honor.
Any discussion, Commissioner Stonehouse?
No further.
Any discussion, Pro Tem Mayor? Any other additional discussion from the commission on the schedule? I just wanted to point out there are a few meetings that would typically, so our meetings are on the second and last Monday of each month at 6 o'clock, with exception to our organizational meeting, which by charter happens at 7 o'clock. But there are a few meetings that fall, on a holiday or would have been on a holiday, so the meeting gets moved to the Tuesday. We also did that with Halloween for next year because Halloween is on a Monday evening. While not a federal holiday, it was one of those things that seemed to make sense. I think so we moved that meeting up to the prior Monday because the Tuesday would be November. Just talking it through for why, if folks are looking at it and thinking, why do we move our meetings around? It's mainly when we have a conflict. All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to our second public comment session of the evening. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes per person. Name and physical address. If anyone would like to make a public comment, now would be the time. We've exhausted the public comment. I'm looking. Okay, public comment is now closed. Brings us to comments from the commission. We will start things off with Commissioner Bonzel and go alphabetically down the line.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to Mayor Smith and Commissioner Hill on their re-election to the commission. Just happy to see the election results, and also congrats, of course, to Mayor Smith again, and also to Mayor Pro Tem Mayor on their election tonight as well. Looking forward to working with you both in the coming year. And with regards to the public comments we received tonight, I think it's very cool to see so many members of the public coming out and speaking on so many different issues, all of which are incredibly important. Particularly, it's clear there's a lot of support for the commission taking a stand in favor of voting rights in the city of Marquette. That's something I think would be sensible, and I think that Mr. Anderson and Dr. Kulishek made some very persuasive arguments. In particular, we may be a nonpartisan body, but this isn't a partisan issue. At least it shouldn't be. So thank you all for making your voices heard and for making your presence and your feelings known tonight. I think that we've all heard you, we've all seen you, and I hope that we can take action on this important issue in the near future. That's all I have.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes, thank you. Congratulations to the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. I look at our commission, I really feel we have a good mix of talents and expertise and experience on this commission, and this will all serve us well as we have a very interesting year of significant challenges and important decisions. So, Karen, thank you for taking the time to read the county climate adaptation plan. I think you are going to become one of our newer experts in this area, and I really appreciate your interest in that. Regarding the Secure Michigan Vote petition,
thank you to all of those of you who are present this evening and to express your concern, and to those who, many emails that we have received, and, you know, your voices are heard. I am a member of the League of Women Voters, and I support their opinion on this matter. In late October, the Michigan League sent a letter to Governor Whitmer stating that we have worked for over 100 years to ensure voting is accessible to every eligible voter. And we're against any attempt to silence the voices of many voters. And we'll be vocal opposing these bills that restrict voting rights and make it more difficult to administer elections. Additionally, our local League of Women Voters, of which I'm active in, is preparing a draft resolution for us to consider. So given the right wording, I just want to let people know that I would support the commission in considering such a resolution. Thank you.
Commissioner Hanley. Thank you. I also would like to congratulate Mayor Smith and Commissioner Hill for their reelection. I'll be happy to continue to serve with both of you. I want to thank everyone who spoke tonight. It was I stand with all of you on this. I do think that keeping voting rights open to everyone is important. I was especially moved by Nina's comments about Jacob Eddy. It was something that I hadn't even thought about, that many seniors that are in homes have that exact same scenario where they're not driving and there's no reason for them to get a driver's license or an identification card, and to withhold the vote from someone who may have helped us earn the right to vote or do things like that it's abhorrent to me as far as I'm concerned. I think as a commission, we should be able to stand up and say together that voting is important, and we should be able to make sure that we do not withhold it. I do not think it's a partisan thing, and I agree with you that we should try and move forward, along with the climate action plan that I do hope comes before us soon in the next couple of weeks and on the next couple of meetings. I hope we get to make some moves on that and at least get that resolution passed to start us off on that. Thank you. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you. Thank you to the residents of Marquette, voters of Marquette, I should say, for re-electing me. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to have another 3 years to serve the community. It's absolutely one of the honors and privileges to be able to sit in this seat, and I'm very grateful. I also want to thank Margaret Brum for standing up and running for office and doing all the good that she is doing for our community. I'm very grateful that folks that people are standing up to run for office. That's very, very important. I also was noticing we have a lot of vacancies on those committees. So a good step before running for office is to have pick one of the committees. Pretty much all of them have an empty seat right now, and get involved in your city government step by step and learn about something that you feel passionate about, or maybe something you want to learn about, and serve on a committee and then think about running for office, because when we have more competition, I think it's much better. And then I have two more things. One is I chose not to run for Mayor Pro Tem because I'm very interested in supporting the planning processes that we have coming in front of us this year, and I really want to be able to devote my time to that. And so I'm going to be, congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Mayor, but I chose not to serve that role. I really appreciated working closely with the staff and Mayor Smith for these past 2 years. It was also it's a critical role, and I really appreciate that the commissioners gave me the opportunity to serve there, but I will be focusing on planning in the next year. And there is actually a City of Marquette climate plan, but it was written in 2013. Been a lot of ups and downs and things in time since then, and looking forward to updating that. And there is going to be a presentation by JCI, the Johnson Controls, here coming up soon. And so we'll have more information on that. And thank you too about the voting rights. Absolutely think it's critical, and that we should have continue to follow through on the ideas that were put forward in the Constitution, the Prop 3 amendment, which was overwhelmingly supported by the community. And thank you for coming in tonight to speak to that, and not just tell us, but I think it's really, really important that you tell your networks as well and reach out to them and let them know how important it is to maintain voting rights. And finally, there is a matter of some urgency in the state legislature just this week. Unfortunately, the short-term rental bill was passed by the House. It would take away our ability to regulate short-term rentals at all. We currently have 250 short-term rentals in Marquette. I was part of a press conference with the Michigan Municipal League. Marquette has 250. We have a population of 20,000. Grand Rapids, which has a population of pretty close to 100,000, if not more, has 100. So, there are other things to know about this issue, but the fundamental is that the local communities know what's right for them and should have the ability to manage its land use at this level. And there will be a vote, what I'm reading is there's potentially going to be a vote in the Senate, in the Michigan Senate, and a yes vote would take away our right to put conditions on short-term rentals. And so the person to contact is Senator McBroom. And I strongly urge you to take that step, because if we don't have the ability to manage our short-term rentals in a way that makes sense for Marquette, the housing situation is only going to get worse. Thank you.
Pro Tem Mayor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would also like to congratulate Mayor Smith and Commissioner Hill on your reelection. I would also like to acknowledge a somewhat historic moment with Mayor Smith is the first woman to ever serve 3 consecutive terms as mayor in Marquette's history, and I think that's a pretty impressive thing. I'd also like to thank my colleagues for electing me as Mayor Pro Tem and entrusting me with this, and I'd like to thank Commissioner Hill for being willing to, take a step back and allow for, the next generation of our local leadership here in the city step forward, and it speaks volumes of you. And lastly, I would like to thank everyone in the public who brought us a great feedback and comments and concerns today. I also really appreciate everyone in the public that came and brought us good news that they had working with city staff. That's always something that's nice for us to know about. A couple of big issues, some of which Commissioner Hill hit on, but I think the commission's going to probably continue to keep discussing things like whether it be the climate change resolution or voting rights or our short-term rental, and maybe we'll be able to make some movement on some of those things in the near future. But thank you.
Commissioner Stonehouse.
Thank you. I've got a little bit more to say, I think, than I might normally do that. If anybody has any pull or any personal contact with Senator Ed McBroom, this is really something you should talk to him about and do it very, very rapidly. Ed McBroom is currently a supporter of the legislation as stands, which would rip the responsibility to manage SRT, the rental units, from the cities and consolidate that power in Lansing. He's really a very strong advocate of that, and we've got to turn him around before the Senate vote. If you look at the legislation that was passed by the House, it includes a carve-out for the city of East Lansing. In other words, that legislation will apply for all municipalities within the state of Michigan except East Lansing. And it's certainly not uncommon the legislature does that. But the point you could make with Ed, and he and I are no longer on speaking terms, so I'm not going to get anywhere with him, is the idea that you could carve out every college town in the state, because all of us have many of the same problems in how you manage short-term rentals, and this would be a method to do that. So if you have the opportunity to talk with him, like tomorrow, quickly, it would be a great point for you to make that. A few other things, obviously congratulations to Mayor Smith and to Mayor Pro Tem Mayor. I'm sure they will continue to do the great work that they have done, and thanks to Mayor Pro Tem Retired Hill for the great work that she has done. We need to work on the climate action plan. We will. That's on the books. That's going to happen, we certainly will make that happen. Likewise, looking too at affordable housing, which is also on the agenda to bring up and get a better and closer look at it. And if you want to tie close affordable housing into short-term rental program, you should, because if they do that with short-term rentals, that kills your affordable housing. That's gone. That's dead, buried, and put a tombstone on top of it. So as we look at the issues that affect the citizens in Marquette, this is critical and tied in a number of ways. I would not be a maritime guy if I didn't remind everybody that on the 10th of November is the loss of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and that will be 46 years ago. 7:10 p.m., all hands, 29 men lost in Lake Superior to the whim of the big lake. So we certainly need to remember that. But we also need to remember that this Thursday is Veterans Day. And Veterans Day doesn't mean this is a great time to go to Target and get a sale. It's got nothing to do with that. It has become that. But Veterans Day is a time for all of us to pay our respects to those that have served. And for one day, we really need to stand in united respect for our veterans. This holiday started as a day to reflect upon the heroism of those who died in country service and was originally called Armistice Day. Fell on November 11th because that was the anniversary of the signing of the armistice that ended World War I. It was, in fact, on the 11th minute of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month that the armistice was signed. An extraordinary stroke of history. However, in 1994, the holiday was changed to Veterans Day in order to honor veterans of all wars. And we celebrate and honor America's veterans for their patriotism, their love of country, willingness to serve, and sacrifice for the common good. What is scary and very telling is that only 7% of all living Americans have served in the military. Only 7% of all living Americans today have served in the military. And I just find that startling because of many things. And with apologies to Winston Churchill's comment concerning the Battle of Britain in World War II, never have so many Americans owed so much to so few. So if you see a vet, please just tell him thank you. Circling that back to locally, sitting at this bench, I would particularly commend Commissioner Mayer, who is currently serving as a National Guard officer, rather a non-commissioned officer, in the 107th Engineer Battalion in Ishpeming, Michigan Army National Guard, and has been so doing for what, about 10 years, I think? 7 years, and certainly twice the citizen for being willing to do what he does in his community and also willing to protect that community in the military forces. Your Honor, thank you for the time.
Well, I will wrap things up. First, I want to thank the commission for your vote of confidence in me to give one more year as mayor. Congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Mayor. That's going to be tricky to get used to saying, but I'm willing to give it a go. You might hear me saying Pro Tem Mayor, just as a shorthand there, but I'm looking forward to working with you in that capacity. I wanted to thank former Pro Tem Hill for our close efforts over the last 2 years. A lot of progress on a lot of really important critical projects, and couldn't have done it without you. So thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm glad you got reelected as well. Glad we did it. I wanted to thank the voters of the citizens of Marquette for reelecting me to a 3-year term. I also wanted to thank our city clerk, Kyle Whitney, his staff, election workers, folks who, help remind people to vote, people who are really involved in the process, which brings me to a lot of the folks who came here tonight to talk about the importance of voting and access to voting, fair chance to get your vote out, whether that be absentee, in person, and the like. The Secure Michigan Initiative, whatever you want to call it, has been made partisan. But I think that we can find a lot of common ground in what we want to make sure that we carry forward and allow the residents to do. So while initially opposed to doing something, because I don't want our nonpartisan board to become some kind of a ploy in a partisan issue, but I do think that we could find a way to reinforce what we see as priorities in the city of Marquette for fair access to voting without it being a direct response to that initiative. So my promise to you is that I will look at that. I will try to figure out what might make sense and see if the commission might be willing to look at something that makes sense for the city of Marquette. So we will take a look. I appreciate you coming tonight. It's really refreshing to hear voices and concerns of the commission, to the commission on a variety of issues. So it's always kind of a, we're not quite sure what people will bring any given night. We did have a heads up about this, and we appreciate you coming out. Some of the other comments I heard tonight were on climate change. That is, a resolution on a climate emergency is in the works for the city of Marquette. I'm hoping that we have that done by the end of 2021. We have 3 more meetings, so that's where I'm hoping it will happen. Tonight is the organizational meeting. Other than a few housekeeping items and the elections for Mayor and Pro Tem, we don't have other items that we need to do tonight, so I knew we wouldn't be having it this evening. I did hear, I don't know if Andrew's still here, Andrew Daly, and I was going to talk on his issues, but he left. All right, well, I did hear his concerns about the intergenerational housing. I'd be interested to look at that. I know we got money coming from the feds, and I don't know how that all works, but I think we just need to make sure we continue to set our priorities. We've done that through strategic planning. We're going to continue to do it through master planning, and I'm hopeful that some of the funds make their way to us, maybe quite a few of those funds. That'd be great, and that we can use them to move the initiatives forward, such as attainable housing, childcare infrastructure, broadband, all those big hot topic issues that are going to get people, want to live here, want to stay here, raise their families here, invest here in Marquette. There was one other, Ms. Schmidt, Karen Schmidt, you said something about 2024 as the turning point, and I'm really interested to hear more from you if you'd like to stay after about that specifically, because I think that it really struck me as something that is vivid and easy for people to picture. So I think maybe there's something we can do there. Okay, so that was wrapping up most of the comments from the public, and then I just had a couple other things. So this year, my vision, for the commission, which I'm one of 7, but I'm running the meetings, mayor, right? We're going to have a big task with master planning. We're going to have a lot of work to do when it comes to maybe some new money coming our way. We've got a fantastic new city manager. We've hired our city attorney in-house now. I'm really glad to have them on board. But I just wanted to say again that I really appreciate the vote of confidence in me to do this for 1 more year. Feel like we can get through some of those big ticket items. And then I fully intend to step back and not run for mayor again for next year. So whether that means I'm a commissioner or a pro tem to help someone else out, I'm fine with either. But I'm not it's not secretive. It's out for the public to know that I'm doing this 1 more year, and then someone else either sitting here or with the election next year will be sitting as mayor. So we'll give it 1 more go here. Appreciate the vote of confidence, and I look forward to seeing what we can do in 2022. All right, that's all I had for the evening. I'm going to turn things over to our city manager. Is there anything you have tonight, Karen?
Just real quick, congratulations to Mayor Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Mayor, and also congratulations to Commissioner Hill now for your reelection as well. So congratulations. I really, truly am honored to work here and to work with all of you. So I look forward to our next year and what that comes and how many things that we are going to get done. I know it's a big year. So thank you for this opportunity, and congratulations to the 3 of you. And then real quick, community office hours with the city manager is Wednesday, November 10th at 10 a.m. at the Peter White Public Library. It was a very busy community office hours last time, so even if you don't have a chance to get some one-on-one time, please feel free to come by and say hi and grab a card and contact me later. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:54 p.m. Thanks, everyone.